Cam Scotty is a good player. He is, but he's not Derrick Henry.
No, he's not. That's my point. Yeah.
They could have tackled him. And for whatever reason, they do look, I'm not going to say soft, but for some reason they look worn down, tired, and maybe they just weren't prepared well enough. I don't know. This looks like a team generally that is tired, worn down.
We got the great Cayden Steele joining us right now on Birds 365. He joins us here on a Tuesday morning edition of the show. Cayden, welcome to the program, my friend. How are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
Doing well. Guys, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Before we start, Cayden, with Za'Darius Smith's curveball, since you were in the green room, we'll start with KP. Everybody wants to boil it down and blame somebody, and that's Kevin Patullo. My take on this offense is it's boring, it's uncreative. Any word you want to use, predictable, as Lane Johnson used, all of that is true. But when they run it well, they won the Super Bowl. So I point more towards execution. What do you point to on the offensive side of the football?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both because like last year when the offense was predictable and boring, I mean, Saquon Barkley pretty much came out and said that. I mean, no, they ran the ball up the middle last year and everyone knew it was coming and nobody could stop us. Kind of paraphrasing, but people knew that. But now Landon Dickerson's been hurt. When he has played and hasn't played well, now he's hurt. And Brett Thompson, Cam Jurgens hasn't played well. Tyler Steen's a slight downgrade from Mekhi Becton, and they just don't have the interior offensive line that they used to. So they can't run it the same way they used to up the middle constantly with Saquon. Passing offense-wise, for whatever reason, they can't get into a rhythm. I mean, they couldn't really last year either. If we're just looking back, they weren't a great passing offense last year. They could just run the heck out.
Nobody noticed that because they won the Super Bowl, Cayden.
Yeah. Now they can't run the ball.
We noticed it. We talked about it.
Yeah. Personnel is a lot to blame, but at the same time, because you can't run the ball the same anymore, you can't operate the same anymore because you're not getting the same execution. I also don't think Kevin Patullo is doing a good job of adjusting. I mean, players have talked about the different looks that they're being thrown this year. And I've talked to different guys in the locker room throughout the year, and they always talk about how they need to do a better job of adjusting to these new things getting thrown to them. They always use that word. They got to adjust better. We need to adjust better. And it's a constant theme. So when you have players coming out saying you're not adjusting well enough and that you're predictable and this and that, it kind of points back to the offensive coordinator because ultimately that's your job, is to put those players in the best positions to succeed game planning wise. So I think Kevin Patullo is doing a bad job, and execution wise, the players are doing a bad job. And we have a combination of things that is leading to a pretty bad offense. So I don't think Kevin Patullo is solely to blame, but I mean, he's definitely part of the blame. He's not doing well.
Where are you on Jalen Hurts? You're obviously quarterback of the team. I asked John, how good does Jalen have to be this year? Because, Cayden, as you just rightly pointed out, the execution in the run game last year was superb, second to none, best running season in NFL history, including the playoffs. Last year, the defense was number one overall. They're solid. They're not number one or look like they will be number one. How much does Jalen Hurts have to kind of elevate what's around him now to make up for some of those differences this year?
Yeah, it's fair. Probably more than he has had to in the past. Like overall, I think he's been fine. Obviously, he probably wants that interception back and the missed throw to Devontae Smith, and he's not been perfect. But I think he's been fine. But they might need more than fine. They might need the best version of Jalen Hurts, maybe like a closer version of like 2022 Jalen Hurts, which I still think was his best as just a passer with Shane Steichen's offense. I don't know if you're getting that anymore. I mean, we haven't seen that since 2022. I think he's a good quarterback. But yeah, the offense has definitely changed. And for that sense, he probably has to be, way better than ever before. And I don't know. I mean, I'm really concerned about this offense because it's not suited to Jalen's style. Jalen does really well in the way they built that offense last year. And I don't think there's any problem with it. And when it came up to the big moments at the end, I mean, I don't know if you should play Tanner McKee the whole regular season and put Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, but
Brian Pumper getting a shout.
But Jalen Hurts, when it mattered the most, he does step up. But like consistently as a passer, 17 games. I mean, if you ask him to throw, 60% of the time, I just don't know if that's.
It's not going to look good.
No, and his offense doesn't look good because I don't think there's many quarterbacks in the league. If you look at the way the Eagles' ground game is right now, and you ask them to do that, there are not many quarterbacks who do that. The Eagles' ground game is terrible right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. I mean, because I often bring up, people forget, like this was a top 5 running attack with Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift. I mean, they could always run the football, and then they just took off to a historic level with Saquon Barkley, and now they're averaging 3.4 yards a carry when they give it to Saquon. That to me is the whole crux of it. I mean, if they can't get it back to at least a Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift level, they're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And just overall as a team, I mean, the way they were built last year, the run game and the defense, I mean, kind of going back again, the passing offense was not the strength of this team. If they couldn't run the ball and play the defense they did last year, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. And right now, they don't have a good run game. And the defense is starting to fall apart because of injury and some holes on defense. And it's a concern. They are not playing the way they want to play. They want to play. They want to have a ground game. They want to wear teams out in the fourth quarter. And last year, they would wear teams out, and the Saquon would hit off a 50, 60-yard run, and that would be it, especially in those close games. They don't have that this year. And I don't know if they're going to get that because I don't know if you can
This is the perfect team to get it against. Minnesota's awful against the run.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes, they are.
They don't have a nose tackle. They traded their nose tackle for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Now Cashman, I think, is going to be back, so they'll be a little bit better. But if he's not, then you have Eric Wilson playing middle linebacker. I mean, they cannot stop the run.
No, they can't.
But Bijan Robinson ate them alive a couple weeks ago. Now, I was talking about Bijan earlier after watching him last night. I think he's the best running back in football, so he's really good. But this is the week, man. This is the week you should get the running game going. So while I think everybody's obsessed with the pass, I'm going the opposite direction. You have to get the running game going against this team. Have to.
Yeah. I thought they had to get it going last week against the Giants, who were 26 against the run, and they couldn't do it as well. I know the Giants might have a little better personnel. And
they have a lot better personnel, especially with Big Dexter, Sexy Dexy in there.
But they couldn't stop the run this season so far. And I thought maybe possibly last week would be the game. And it started off well with those 2 outside zone runs.
Yeah, it started off well.
It looked well, and then they went away from it, and they kept doing the same thing that they keep trying to do, is running up the middle, and they shy away from the run game. I don't know if it gets better, though, because even though Minnesota's personnel is, there are some weaknesses, I don't know if you can magically make Landon Dickerson healthy. I don't know. And if he doesn't play, I don't know if you can magically make Brett Toth a good player when he isn't. And I don't know if Cam Jurgens back is going to feel good at all ever this season. I don't know if Tyler Steen, I think Tyler Steen's been fine, but I don't know if you're going to expect him to become the run blocker that Mekhi Becton was. I think there's a chance that this year is just a down year for the offensive line. Maybe, next offseason, everyone gets healthy and Landon back's 100% and Cam's back 100%. And next year they're dominant again in the run. I don't see that happening unless these guys start feeling better health-wise, because they're not playing well.
Yeah, no doubt. Cayden, defensively, man, yesterday, Za'Darius Smith hangs up the cleats in week 6. I don't want to pollute the question. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily speculate on why, but I mean, from a team perspective, you already have a thin, not good pass rush. I don't think he was particularly great, but I think he was fine. Your depth in our already bad group just got even worse, and I already thought they needed to make a trade, even with Za'Darius Smith. I didn't think they had enough. They definitely need to make a trade now, maybe 2 trades. I just don't think this edge rush group is good enough.
It's not good.
And the loss of Zadarius Smith hurts it even more. It is odd that he retired, though. I mean, I don't know exactly the reason why, but I mean, this is a guy that after he signed said he never considered retiring during the offseason. He had a ton left in the tank. It's a little odd to see him step away after those comments. Maybe he wasn't telling the truth and he played these games and he realized his body just couldn't take it anymore. I don't know, but it was weird to see a guy that believed that he was – one of his comments was that he started football young, so he still felt like a young guy. So it didn't seem like a guy that wanted to step away. Something changed.
Right. I heard that Zangaro question when he first got here. Did you think about not playing this year? No way, he said. I was playing this year was his comment. So yeah. I don't know. You don't want to speculate on why he did. I will. When you wait till September to sign with the team, Cayden, you're ring chasing. When you get to a team and you become the number 1 edge rusher, when you want to be a rotational piece, and you don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl, maybe you retire 5 weeks later. I don't know. I get it's speculation, but I'm willing to do it.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know for sure. Maybe.
Yeah, I get it. You're a reporter. You're not going to go down that road. I understand why. I'm just saying that was my perspective on it. I saw it and I'm like,
lot of shit can happen in life. I think everybody should realize that. A lot of curveballs. And you can think one way and be telling the complete truth, and life changes and you got to go a different way. That's just, I think it's Occam's razor. I think it's personal. Maybe you'll talk about it. Maybe you won't.
I don't know.
But I don't think
the Occam's razor here is that it's personal.
I don't think it has anything to do with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I certainly don't think it has anything to do with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, because I've heard a lot of people and Cayden can speak to this, and I mentioned it earlier in the show. I don't think most people realize how compartmentalized these guys are. He doesn't have a lot of time to hang out with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown as a defensive player. You spend all your time with the defense, except for the team meetings. Very little back and forth, very compartmentalized. You spend most of your time with your position group. He's not getting run out of Philadelphia because he can't stand Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown's soap opera. That I will say. As far as why, maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But that's my take on it. Defensively as a whole, Cayden, boy, that was a pitiful performance. And a lot of it can be explained by no Jalen Carter, no Quinyon Mitchell for the majority of the game. But you got to persevere a little bit better than that, even when you lose players. And you've seen it all across the league. How bad did that secondary look like when Quinyon Mitchell left that game against the Giants?
It looked really bad. I mean, it looked bad to even begin the game with Kelee Ringo. I feel like after he lost that jump ball 50-50 to little Jordan Humphrey, like the positive.
Little Jordan Humphrey, by the way.
He was elevated from the practice squad hours before that game, and he's been a journeyman throughout his whole career. But when he lost that ball, I think all the positive stuff that we saw from Kelee the previous 2 weeks kind of just like faded. And I don't know if it's a confidence issue when he like just starts reeling and he gets in his head or something, because then there was the Wan'Dale Robinson catch where he doesn't touch him and that picks up extra yards. And then the next 2 plays later, Wan'Dale Robinson catches a ball and Andrew Mukuba misses another tackle. I think the secondary, obviously after Quinnen left, it got even worse. But I think even with Quinyon in, that cornerback 2 spot and that safety spot, look, I think Drew Mukuba has some potential. Like, I think he has obvious instincts to the ball, but he's not tackling well. He's not covering well. Kelee Ringo is not playing well. Adoree Jackson's probably a little better than Kelee Ringo in coverage. He's allergic to tackling. Like, it's tough to watch that secondary right now. I mean, and if Quinyon misses substantial,
and Reed's not playing well to his typical standard. So yeah, right now it doesn't look great.
No, and if you don't have a good pass rush, which they don't, I mean, if you don't have a great pass rush and you have liabilities in the secondary, let's say Quinyon misses another week or two, and I heard Zander before I came on and talk about this matchup. I mean, that's Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. You can't create pass rush. I don't care who's playing quarterback. I mean, they have weapons. I think they could pick apart the Eagles. I mean, maybe it's a close game because Minnesota can't stop the Eagles either, but I'd be worried. And I don't think this defense is particularly good, or not as good as it was, at least last year, even when Quinyon is in the lineup. But there's a lot of holes. And
sure. I mean, you could Quinyon or not, Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and you don't have the pass rush to marry, a good coverage. I don't think they have great coverage, and I don't think they have great pass rush right now. And those things are killer. And this defense.
But the good news for the Eagles is Minnesota doesn't have a vehicle to get the football to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison consistently. So, for last year, I'd agree with you. Sam Darnold chucking it all over the yard. This year,
I mean, John, Carson Wentz has thrown for 173, then he threw for 350, and he threw for 236 with a 69% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 99.5 rating. I know he's not dominant, but he can get them the football.
Well, that 350, they were down 2 touchdowns, and they were just throwing it. That was the Pittsburgh game. They And credit to him, Carson got him back, and they had the football with a chance to either win or tie. I forget at the end of the game. That was the Dublin game. Didn't get it done. But that's where all that numbers came from. And again, 178 or whatever he said, 236. With those receivers, that could be a lot better. Now, Carson's better than freaking J.J. McCarthy. I'll tell you that. So, but again, they're limited from a quarterback standpoint. So I think if you look at it from an Eagles, and by the way, Carson, we know he's a guy that will allow you to sack him. He will hold on to the football. And so to get maybe this pass rush can get some confidence, even if it's Josh Uche, Azeez Ojulari. What about the confidence aspect of it? Get a couple sacks, and all of a sudden you start feeling yourself, Cayden.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if confidence is going to make up for the fact that they're just not very good. Like I get that. I get that.
Well, you're probably right. I think Josh has played well, though.
Yes, he has. But like all these guys, and it makes me sound like I'm most disrespectful. I think Josh and Jalix, like they have shown flashes and they have potential. They're really good and solid rotational rushers.
Right, I agree with that. Yeah.
They just don't have a guy that's a premier rusher right now.
Yeah,
like,
they don't.
And maybe Jalix gets to that point at some point in his career. I'm not writing him off. It's unfair to expect a guy in his second year, he's only been playing edge rusher since his junior year of college, to be a premier edge rusher in his second year in the NFL. Like he showed flashes last year. He's got the athleticism, obviously. As a third, fourth edge rusher, you use him creatively. He could do a lot of different things. He can drop back in coverage. I mean, he's a useful player with upside long term. They don't have a guy right now at edge rusher. And John, I get your point about Carson Wentz, but I mean, when Jackson Dart's spinning it on, and finding little Jordan Humphrey down the field, and Jackson Dart's a leading the second. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this defense. I have confidence in Vic Fangio, but like personnel wise, I think there is some glaring holes. And I mean, the trade deadline is November 4th. I think they got to make some moves. I don't know what they're
all right. I'm going to do my rare criticize Vic Fangio. So, get ready, because I don't do this often, but, because I like Vic a lot. I think he's the best defensive coordinator in football, but I also think he's very stubborn. And that's probably part of his greatness. I was just looking at the edge rushers. Not that it matters, but Bryce Hupp is currently the 19th ranked edge rusher in football, with Robert Saleh in San Francisco. Wasn't going to work here. Not saying it was, but part of the reason why it wasn't going to work here is because Vic has this philosophy that he wants his edge rushers to do everything. He wants them to rush the passer, but he wants them to set the edge. He wants them to be able to drop, as Cayden was talking about with Jalix Hunt as a flat defender, and Bryce was pretty much a one-trick pony. You don't have edge rushers now. Nolan Smith is still on IR. Za'Darius Smith is retiring. Obo's on IR, done for the season. You don't have edge rushers. Vic has been pretty consistent with us, Cayden. No, Jahad Campbell's not going to be on the edge. Well, now it's different because you have a need, and Nakobe Dean is back. We have to see if he's healthy, but if he is healthy, well, you have a surplus of linebackers, off-ball linebackers. Why not pull that trigger, Jahad Campbell or Zach Bond, if Campbell can't do it, and go about fixing it that way, at least before Howie makes a trade? Do you have to start thinking outside the box?
Yeah, and I think it would be Bond over Campbell. I don't think Campbell's actually ready to play edge from what I've seen on the few times.
That's what Vic says, too.
I don't see it. I mean, maybe eventually. He obviously went to Bama as a pass rusher, but I mean, it's not something he's done consistently throughout his career. And I think it would kind of suck for Jahad Campbell to move him into that position where I still think he's obviously a good player, but I don't think he's had his best games at linebacker recently either. Still think he's adjusting and learning in that position. I think to take him off that position and make him play edge rusher, they're in a weird spot at edge rusher. I mean, there's some names I've seen out there in trade circles. I mean, I wrote a little story this morning for NJ.com, just looking at potential guys. I was looking at Bradley Chubb's contract. It runs through 2027. There's not a ton of guarantee after this year, though. Vic also had him in Denver as well for 3 years. You wonder, and despite the injuries, the injuries are really the red flag. I mean, he's had 3 season-ending injuries, but he still has 4 sacks this year. Had 11 sacks in 2023 when he was with Vic in Miami. I wonder if he's a potential option that they look for a trade. I saw yesterday that SNY's Connor Hughes reported that teams are calling about Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah.
Those are names I would keep an eye on. I mean, I think they got to make a move of that level. Like, I wouldn't be interested really in Jalen Phillips. Like, I don't think he is what he was a couple of years ago before the injuries. But like Bradley Chubb, Jermaine Johnson, and I mean, whoever else you want to throw in that, they got to make a move, because I think if they don't, this defense is not going to be very good down the stretch.
No doubt. Cayden, are we putting too much on the defense? Like, I get it. It hasn't been great. They're also the second lowest defensive payroll in all of pro football. And the offense is the highest offensive payroll in all of pro football. You know, and we're the 30th ranked offense. Like, I get it. We play a different brand. I get it. It's not going to look like I'm not trying to make it look like other teams, but that's a pretty bad return on investment to have the 30th ranked offense in pro football.
I hope Jeffrey Lurie is listening. Jeffrey, if you're listening.
Do you agree? Or maybe I'm off base. Maybe you think, no, their setup is more built to, to have a great defense and to run the ball. I don't know. To me, it feels crazy that we put, and again, I think the defense has to be better. The defense certainly wasn't good against the New York Giants, but they're the lowest paid defense in football, or second lowest. Like, I don't expect them to dominate. I expect the offense to be able to dominate. They haven't been able to do that. Am I way off base? How do you see it?
No, you're not off base. I mean, you look at an offense that, I mean, they made that decision in the offseason when they let go of Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and every other guy that they let go on defense, and they didn't invest the money there, and they gave Cam Jurgens an extension. They've given all these different guys on offense extensions.
Landon got another extension this offseason.
Yeah. They made that decision knowing that they were, I think, from their perspective, they have all their money invested in offense. The only player they really don't have signed is Tyler Steen. And to have an offense that has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, arguably most talented wide receiver in the league. I mean, it doesn't look that way because the production's not there right now, because the passing offense, for whatever reason, is just not working. When you have Saquon Barkley and when you have an offensive line, it should look better. And yes, there are injuries affecting things, but yeah, I think we're putting a little too much on this defense. There's more holes on this defense in terms of personnel when you look at it. And naturally, because it's a young defense that played so well last year, I mean, players take a step back, sometimes take a step back when they're young and they have down years. And I think that offense, with all this money invested in the star level that it has, it should be better than 30th. And John just said it. I mean, I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie is not sitting up there and he's very happy right now. You're talking about an owner that cares so much about offense and innovation. Like, I don't know how he watches this and he's satisfied. So I don't think you're off base, and the offense needs to do better. And especially if the defense is not going to play to the level that it did last year. I mean, it can't carry it for stretches that, like it did last year. And you're not off base. This offense has been underwhelming.
Quick follow-up. What does that look like looking better in your eyes? Is it got to get the running game going because Jalen's not a pass happy guy, which is fine. What is it to you? Because again, going back to the money thing, there's a lot of money tied up in those receivers, man, to have this passing game not be as good as it can be. What does it look like for that offense to look better in your eyes?
Yeah, I think they got to get the ground game going first. I mean, I really do. I don't think they're just, I mean, whether you like it or not, I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. Not many quarterbacks, I just don't think he's built, to throw it 60% of the time through the air. I mean, he's complimentary football. That's what they've preached for years, and they were so good at it. And they got to get back to the ground game first, because they have no ground game. 1 or 2 positive carries, and then they go away from it. I just think they're putting a lot on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. And at the same time, the passing offense is not very good. And I heard John talk about it before. I mean, yes, it's looked this way in the past before. I mean, where things break down, they don't give Jalen Hurts a lot of easy looks. They don't have a lot of hot routes. And it's just the passing offense in general isn't built well and hasn't been at various points during Nick Sirianni's tenure. And now your run game's failing. it's a mess overall. But if they could get the run game going, I think it could solve a lot of the problems. But I mean, you have a fair criticism, fair point. I mean, you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. The passing offense should look better than what it is. So, it's tough to pinpoint it because there's too much talent on this team to continue to play the way they are, and it doesn't look good right now. And I don't know how much faith I have in it getting better, to be honest.
Yeah, it's confounding. I mean, one of the weird things about this year is the book on Jalen Hurts coming into this year was blitz him the hell and high water. And he's been great against the blitz this year, statistically. And he struggles when throwing into zone coverages, simulated pressures has been giving him trouble this year, which is complete 180 from previous years. If I'm sort of Nick Sirianni, and by the way, the hot routes thing too, Nick, that'll drive Nick crazy. Go watch Phillip Rivers in Indy. They had hot routes in the freaking offense. That's a quarterback issue. But he's been great against the blitz. I'm confounded by this whole thing.
Yeah, I am too. And it's so many things. I mean, we talked about the personnel. I mean, and it's fair, but it's even going back to the coaching one more time. I mean, like, you have an offense that some reason just does not show up in the third quarter. For whatever reason, after halftime, adjustments are made by a defensive coordinator on the other side, and the offense comes out and they have no answers and they're flat. And that points back to Kevin Patullo because there is personnel issues. But when your offensive coordinator has no answers after the second half, because the defensive coordinator is adjusted to what you're doing, and he's throwing out more simulated pressures after the second half, they're dropping more into zone coverage, and you have no answers. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not.
Well, I would just on the idea of halftime. I'll revert to Big Fangio there. Yeah, they don't exist. But
you do look at things throughout a game, right, John? I mean,
throughout the game. Yeah,
right.
Throughout the game.
It's not. It's a halftime.
Peyton Manning too. I ate a couple oranges. I took a leak, and I was back out there. That is the biggest overblown thing in football. But yeah, you have to make adjustments the entire way as you're going through the game. And they certainly haven't handled that switch from, well, they've handled the blitz very well, and then they haven't handled the switch to simulated pressure and the zone coverage, which is interesting because that's what they had done effectively in the past. It really is a strange year, at least to this point. And I think this is a good opportunity because I think, and who knows with Brian Flores, because he's a lunatic, but I think you're going to see a lot of 8 men in coverage. I think he's going to rush 3 and drop 8 a lot. And this will be your chance to pick it apart in the zone against guys who don't cover that well. I think it's going to be an interesting game. But I don't know what to expect out of the Eagles offense from quarter to quarter, never mind week to week.
Yeah. I mean, it's a problem. Really, the only thing that they do well against is man. I mean, but I don't know what to expect either. I mean, I'm not writing off this Eagles team, but I am very concerned, and I don't know if they're going to win this game this week. I mean, for a while, I was in the category of I'm never going to pick against the Eagles.
I was in that.
I was there too. Yeah.
I was in there.
Now I have a hard time picking them because I'm like, the last 2 weeks have been just so uninspiring. Whereas, like, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, they're still very talented. They'll get back on track. There's too much talent. I mean, logically, I feel that way. But the last 2 weeks.
Well, the Giants game shook everybody because the Giants stink.
Yeah,
I mean, the Giants aren't good. And I
think
they
were missing a
that
playmaker, and they dropped 34 on our head. And Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. You know the thing that bothered me the most, Cayden, about the Giants game? We got out physical. Like, I haven't seen that in a long time. We are normally the aggressor. We are normally the team that runs people over. Cam Scatterbo was like a bowling ball out there. Jackson Dart diving through first downs head first, which he might have gotten fined for. I'm not sure if he did, but that was a little bit egregious. But they got bullied in the game. They did. I haven't seen that in a while, Cayden.
Cam Scatterbo. He's like Mike Allstott out there.
Yeah,
look,
he was.
Cam Scotty was a good player. He is, but he's not Derrick Henry. Like
No, he's not. That's my point. Yeah.
they could have tackled him. And for whatever reason, they do look, I'm not going to say soft, but for some reason they look worn down, tired, and maybe they just weren't prepared well enough. I don't know. This looks like a team generally that is tired, worn down. I'm not going to say checked out, but for whatever reason, they got bullied. And just in general sense, it's been 6 quarters of bad play. That second half against Denver. I mean, they haven't played a lot of good quarters of football. They've skated by in some quarters and they found ways to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to I don't know.
First half versus the Rams was awful. Second half versus the Bucks was awful. You're right. I mean, they're spotty, man.
They're playing bad football for the majority of this year. Yes, they're 4-2, but that 4-2 could have been very different if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop some passes, Travis Kelce doesn't drop a pass. I mean, I'm not saying it's 2023. There is some eerily similar, vibes so far, though, in terms of they skated by. Now they look tired. Now they're getting blown out by the Giants. It's week 6. They have a bye week coming up in 2 weeks. If they can get by and get a win here and go, at least go 5-3 or whatever, I think
they're not losing the Giants. I guarantee.
I hope not. Cayden, I got a question on the leadership for you, real quick. I'll close it up here, last one. But when we talk about these things and we say they got out physicaled by the Giants, I mean, is there a leadership thing to that? I mean, how do you view the leadership in the locker room? You have kind of the A.J. Brown, the meeting happened, it didn't happen. They're going back and forth. John alluded to Jalen being aloof at some times, where some people don't relate. How do you see the leadership of the team right now, and maybe a problem, or maybe it's not a problem in your eyes, it's more on the field? How do you see that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could say it's a leadership thing. I mean, because I think Jordan Mailata and Saquon, and I think they have some good leaders in that locker room. And I'm not there yet. I mean, maybe we'll get to the point this year where we think the locker room's kind of checked out. I'm not completely there yet. I think there is a frustration, whether they're not saying it directly, but I think there is some frustration offensively with the play calling, with Lane saying it's predictable, that they need to adjust. And I think there's frustrations with the fact that they're not playing well and they're not executing. So I think it's more, maybe it is the fact that they went so deep last year and they're just worn out physically, especially the offensive line. I mean, Saquon went for 2,000 yards and they ran the ball so much last year. And then defensively, they played a ton of snaps. I don't know. I'm not one to say it's a leadership issue yet, but I mean, it's just a mess. I mean, maybe it is, and we'll find out later. I don't know for sure.
All right. At Cayden_Steele 19. Make sure you follow him on the X platform. Read him at nj.com. By the way, man, it's been a tough week for Philly sports. The Phillies lose. The Eagles are, who knows what's going on. Penn State football fires. James Franklin, so many Penn State people. But your Temple Owls, man, they were involved too. What a crushing defeats.
Hey, look, they're a lot better than they are now, and they're a lot better now than they were when I was.
Oh, that's true.
They were terrible. But hey, another thing. I mean, at least we got the Sixers. No, I'm kidding. But
please don't bring that up on me, Cayden. All right, please. Holy mackerel.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Cayden. We appreciate it, man. Always great having you on. We appreciate you doing it. By the way, I apologize last week. I put that one on me, man. But we appreciate you making the time today. All right, brother.
Thank you.